Hi there, welcome to the Digital JST Show, your go to podcast for digital marketing insights that drive business growth and career success. I am JST Anandan, your host, and this podcast is brought to you by Digital JST. That's my digital marketing consultancy helping businesses worldwide. You can check it out at digitaljst.com. Whether you are a B2B business looking to expand your online presence or a professional in a full time job or freelancing, this podcast is designed to help you learn from top marketing experts and make smarter, more strategic decisions. If you are watching on YouTube, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for updates. If you are listening on any podcast app, follow the Digital JST show, and if you like the show, leave a rating. Alright, let's jump right in.
Hello everyone. Today on the podcast, we have with us Navkiran, the founder of a growing content and social media agency. Her journey is nothing short of inspiring. Hailing from Patiala, India, she studied engineering and initially wanted to pursue a job after BTech. But after the unfortunate loss of her mother, she had to pause her plans and take care of her family. After a 2 year gap, she went on to do her MTech, got married during her final year, and soon realized that traditional job opportunities were limiting in her place. That's when her husband encouraged her to explore content writing. What started with a small job paying just a minimum salary in 2020 soon turned into a freelancing journey on Upwork. In just a few months, she started working with overseas clients, building a team, and steadily growing her agency to a monthly revenue of 3 to 5 lakhs INR. And here's the interesting part. While most digital marketing advice tells you that having a website is a must, Navkiran has managed to build and run a successful agency purely through Upwork. In this conversation, we will dive into how Navkiran scaled her agency in just a few months, the strategies she uses to find the right clients on Upwork, and how she is navigating challenges like AI in content writing. We'll also touch on outsourcing best practices, pricing services, and building a sustainable freelancing business. This episode will be especially valuable for freelancers, content writers, digital marketers, and business owners who want practical insights on growing online even without a website. Welcome now, Kiran. I'm excited to have you on the show and hear your story.
Thank you, Justy. Same here. So, as you already introduced, that I am a freelancer, and from last 5 years, I'm running a partnership firm that in digital marketing. So, yes. So let's start.
Yeah. So to start the conversation, you mentioned your firm works on 7 to 8 projects per month and makes 3 to 5 lakhs INR monthly. What helped you scale so quickly within 6 to 7 months?
Yes. So, see, nothing happened overnight, right? So it was hard work, discipline, and passion for writing and for earning a good amount of money. So initially, I joined a company. From there, I learned about platform and how to approach clients. And then from there, I meet my partner, and we planned to start a business. So to to get few projects, we worked day and night. At that time, Upwork was a very useful and very easy platform. There was no charges for bidding. So we spent hours and hours in bidding, in approaching clients, showing them our previous works. And by doing so, we started getting projects. And once we get the project, our discipline, our commitment to timely deliveries, and of course, our a good, honest team that helped us grow really well and in a short period of time.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, it wasn't that competitive earlier, but now it's very competitive.
Yes,
But I still would recommend people who want to start their freelancing career to get started on Upwork. You never know how competitive it would get later on also. So, yeah.
yes. Because yeah,
So,
on Upwork, even today you get good clients, you get good projects, and from there you can meet your portfolio for your further out of Upwork projects.
yeah, that's correct. So
Yeah.
AI tools are affecting content writers globally. So how are you positioning yourself to stay competitive?
See, First thing we all should understand is that we cannot ignore AI no matter what we say, what we listen, and what we think, right? AI is the futuristic tech and we have to adopt it. But on the same time, I believe in AI and manual work altogether because we simply cannot rely only on the AI because nothing can beat what human thinks, what human can do. AI cannot replace humans completely. Yes, it can help you in your work, it can reduce your time, but of course, it cannot replace you. So, this is the same approach I am following. So, I'm using AI where it is needed, but of course, I do my manual research also so that my content is unique and is readable and is effective because based on my experience I can say that AI every time creates kind of similar kind of content, right? Of course it gives you good sentences, it gives you good flow, it gives you right information also, but still the human emotions are missing in any content you generate from AI. So AI is there to help but it is not there to replace you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But apart from what AI can do, I feel that as a content writer, because I am also a content
Mhm.
writer, if we don't have the foundation, like how the right content structure should be there, how SEO keywords should be there, we have to do all those research as well.
Yes.
If we don't have
Yes.
that foundation, even if we give the prompt to ChatGPT, you never know what result
Mhm.
you're getting and whether it is correct or not for the online content that
Yes.
we create for
Yeah.
our clients. So I think even
Yes.
if someone is thinking of using AI, they should have the foundational skills, no matter what skills they have, whether it is content
Yes.
writing or any other skills, but they should check everything, validate and you also get the help of AI and then get the output, desired output.
Yes, that is
Uh,
true. Because we don't know, because AI is basically what data the companies feed into it, and we don't know if it is relevant, if it is latest or not. So human efforts are always there, no matter how much AI grows or not.
yeah, agree.
Yeah.
So, as digital marketers, we are often told that having a website is critical for online visibility. Yet, you have focused purely on platforms like Upwork. So, how have you been able to build a thriving business without a website?
Yes, so just as I already told you that when I started my journey, when I worked on Upwork on initial days of my career, it was a very good platform. Like it was outstanding. There are no charges for any bidding, no charges to clients even. So more and more clients were there on Upwork offering good projects at good prices. Plus the competition was less. But when COVID hit, when people lost jobs or most people learn how to work from home, the competition on platforms like Upwork also increased. So due to that, what happened? Plus, the Upwork has changed its policies. Now it started charges for everything, whether you bid, whether you accept a project, or whether client, post a project. So Upwork started charging a lot. A lot of freelancers, signed up on Upwork, due to which I feel nowadays there is more competition. So clients get their work at lower rates. And now from 2 3 years, we are also planning to start our personal branding because now we can see these platforms are not as effective as they were, before COVID or during COVID. The reasons can be many, right? More competition, more people are getting aware of the freelancing jobs, freelancing work. More youngsters are getting skilled for, whether it is content writing, digital marketing, script, or whatsoever. For until now, we are doing very good from Upwork and LinkedIn only. We don't feel like doing branding or having our personal website, for visibility. But now I think it is a time to think over it. Plus, it depends on what your goals are. Some people want to grow their business as much as they can. Some people are satisfied with their everyday happy living earning, right? For us, the goal is not to establish such a big firm. For us, the goal is to help few women, because on our team mostly are the women's only. So we want to help women who cannot go outside and but can do work from home and earn good money. Plus, everyone, including we and our team, can live a good, happy life. So that is why I think we don't feel need for personal branding or website, but I think we should consider it, and we will.
Okay,
Yeah.
obviously, like if you have a website, people can build that first impression. But apart from that, even in my personal experience, I feel client doesn't ask you for a portfolio. They ask you for work samples, which is like
Yes, but
relevant
yes,
work samples. So even if you have a
yes,
portfolio where you have like worked for like a number of niches, you just have to show them the relevant work samples. So I think people can still work as a content writer without a website.
yes, true.
Okay. So for someone who just started on Upwork, what are your top tips for creating a profile that attracts projects?
See, the only tip is your cover letter needs to be personalized and honest, right? Don't write anything in the cover letter that you're not aware of or you don't know how to explain it to the client, right? Plus, try to keep it as personal as possible. Don't make it too lengthy to be boring for read for the client. So profile should be straightforward, simple, should cover your key skills and what you really can offer. That is the tip.
Okay, so basically optimization of profile is what can help people land
Yes,
clients on Upwork.
yes, yes.
So how should businesses think about outsourcing content and social media work? Do you have any do's and don'ts?
Yeah, sure. Outsourcing is a good option for businesses who want to grow their revenue and who want to, win more and more projects. Sometimes what happens, you don't have enough team or resources to complete the projects, but your skills and your experience is enough, and you're getting more and more projects. So in that case, outsourcing is a good option, but you have to be careful while outsourcing your work, right? You make sure that you're not sharing every single detail of your business with the outsource person. Just share the task, the project, and the only minimum details that needs to complete the project. Also, clarify every detail in advance, like what is your targeted audience, what you want, how the things should go, whatever your requirements for a project, clear from the day one to the outsource person or team. So outsourcing is a good option and it helps you grow really well. But on the same time, you have to be careful whom you are hiring and how much information you are sharing with.
Okay, so if someone has to have an in-house team member or outsourcing, what would
Mhm.
you recommend?
I would recommend in-house is better in in terms of trust, in terms of transparency, because you know when the person is coming, what he is doing, how much time he is spending, how much or you can meet him personally, teach him the skills you want for a particular project. In outsourcing, there is always a risk of fakeness. Maybe, for example, you have hired someone to outsource your work, but you really don't know if he is the person who is doing your work, if or if he has outsourced it to other third person. So their quality can compromise and trust can compromise. So if you're asking me if outsource or in-house, I suggest in-house. It can be remotely or it can be in physical office. That all depends. Yeah.
Do you think personal branding is mandatory for service providers, or can results and referrals alone sustain a business?
I feel referrals help you sustain a business, but of course, there is always, uncertainty. because with referrals sometimes you have work, sometimes you don't. So uncertainty is always there. But with personal branding, this is not the case. With personal branding, that you have work to do every day, right? And so, yes, I feel personal branding is important. Again, it depends on what your desire is, what your goal is, and how you want to grow. Like, of course, what are your satisfaction points? You know, if you're satisfied with referrals and that much work, it is all on you. But if you really want to grow your business, then personal branding is must. Yeah.
Okay. How do you balance offering competitive pricing to clients while still keeping your business profitable and paying your team?
See, Jesti, I follow a mix of both. Like, I have set my lowest price, uh, right? Considering the competition these days and considering what is going on in the market. So, there is a minimum price I have set for my projects. But of course, that is the minimum. I try to get projects at good price. If not, then I try to negotiate. But I make sure that I don't go below that minimum price. You know, I have some projects who are at low price, some at a high price, some paid me even higher. So there is a mix of projects. Not all are low. If all are low, then how will I manage the expenses, right? And the
Yeah.
salaries, which is the most important. So there is mix of projects. So I make sure I have enough projects with all price structure, so we all can live happily. Yeah.
Okay, so basically the pricing should not be fixed. It may vary from
Be
market to
flexible. Yeah.
market. Yeah, because if
Yes.
we are working with a US client, it can be high. And if you're working with an
Yes.
Indian client, it could be less because obviously the pay parity is there, is an
Yes.
issue. So that is one thing. And apart from that, if you charge higher, like most people, like the creators who say like target high paying clients and stuff, it's not easy because there are a lot of freelancers out there. Why would they work with you
Yes.
when you're charging high, right?
Yeah.
So obviously we have
They
to
will go for
understand.
another one.
So we have to understand the entire scenario of the job market we are catering to the, and accordingly we have to be flexible with our rates. That's when we will be
Yeah.
able to crack the deals. Okay.
Yes.
So, what advice would you give to writers who are struggling with pricing their services and finding clients, especially those who feel stuck between charging too low and not getting projects when they charge higher?
See, the advice is only if you're new to platforms like Upwork or anywhere, if you have just started your freelancing career, then you should not keep the price in mind. Your main agenda needs to be completing as much project as you can so that you can build a good portfolio. You can gather good work samples, and after that, for any freelancer on any platform, again, I must say, don't stick with a fixed price that I don't go lower than this. Of course, don't accept clients who pay very low to you, because you should not underestimate your skills also. But also, you should not be rigid with your price structure. Consider everything. So, because getting project is also important if the price is important. So, set a low price for you, that how much you can afford, how much is okay for you considering your skills, your financial condition, your availability, considering everything. And then accept projects if they are ready to pay you that much price. And if they not ready to pay you the price and ask you for lower than that, then I should say you should not accept. Even try to focus on getting bidding for other projects. Definitely, if you when you work hard, when you bid for good projects, you will get the project at the right price.
Okay, so basically they have to
Yeah.
show some patience also to get the right clients
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
going with
For
whatever
yeah.
projects they are getting, so that they avoid burnout as well because they are not getting
Yes.
paid for what they are putting in
Yes.
efforts into. So that's what something they can try out. So thank you so much for joining us today, Navkiran. Your journey and insights are truly inspiring, and I'm sure our listeners have learned a lot about scaling an agency, navigating freelancing challenges, and building a thriving business without a website. Before we wrap up, could you share where people can find you online and connect with you?
Thank you, Jesti. Sure, people can find me on LinkedIn. And
This podcast is brought to you by Digital JSD. If you want more tips, strategies, and interviews with top marketing experts from around the world, make sure to subscribe, follow the Digital JSD show. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.